we try to settle the matters of dispute outside the court. This process is basically to fasten the decision making process within the businesses so that the speed of business is never hampered or reduced, so that the business operations keep on going without doing any damage to self or to economy. Arbitration is one facility which has been given to all the businesses or even all the disputes if all the parties are basically willing to accept the decisions passed by the arbitrator. Arbitrator is a person who is appointed with the consent of both the parties in dispute, and the arbitrator is recognized as a person who is actually able to pass the judgment with regards to the issue or problem, right? And the power of judicial authority in all the cases is absolute. If at any point of time any party claims that they are not satisfied with the decisions passed by the arbitrator, then they actually can move to the court of law. They actually can ask the court of law to take judgment with regards to the decision or with regards to a dispute in which the arbitration was sought earlier. Moreover, there should be a valid and subsisting arbitration agreement capable of being enforced. The subject matter in question is the legal proceedings must be within the scope of arbitration agreement. I just need to understand this point with the help of you guys. What does this second point means? The subject matter in question in the legal proceedings must be within the scope of arbitration agreement. I just need to understand this point. Or let's say let's take an example. There are two parties X and Y. X inflicts some physical harm on Y and then seeks arbitration in the matter. Is it possible? फिजिकल हार्म मतलब मैं
No,
चोट
sir.
पहुंचाया उसको, चोट पहुंचाने के बाद जिसके अंदर उसके हाथ पैर मतलब कुछ 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 फिजिकल हार्म हुआ है, शायद कोई बोन ब्रेक हुई हो, शायद कुछ और हुआ हो. In such cases, is it possible to seek arbitration?
No, sir.
Why not?
Sir, it comes under criminal law.
Yes, anything which is specifically stated falls within the scope or purview of the criminal law or even the civil law. Those matters should not be taken to the arbitration. The if even if the arbitrator is appointed and arbitrator passes any decision with regards to the matter in dispute in which some physical harm has been committed to one of the parties, then that decision also is stands null and void. उसकी कोई वैल्यू नहीं होती है. So anything for which the arbitration is sought must fall within the scope of matters which are which can be concluded with the help of arbitration process. They should not try to encroach upon the powers of the legal system of the country. Right? Give me a second. क्लास में हूँ यार, थोड़ी देर में बात करें. ठीक है. Right. And these 2 points are basically routine in nature. These 2 points are required by the kids to be remembered. One is that applicant must make the application at the earliest stage of the proceedings before submitting his first statement on the substance of dispute. This part needs to be understood only that whenever anybody is able to presume that any dispute even might occur even before the start of the dispute, they can actually seek the arbitration process or arbitrator to be appointed. And we have seen live examples of this particular process also, when the dispute between Ambani brothers started regarding the ownership of the property after death of the owner, Dhirubhai Ambani, then both the brothers actually appointed one of the arbitrator, and they started forwarding the matters of dispute to that arbitrator for the final decision whenever the dispute would come. And the arbitrator was actually allowed to foresee the future matters and to pass a judgment regarding the future issues that might come between the Ambani brothers. Occasionally उनकी भी जो भी दिक्कत फ्यूचर में आ सकती थी उसके लिए भी आर्बिट्रेटर पहले से अपॉइंट कर लिया गया था और उसको पावर थी कि वो उन दोनों के फ्यूचर में होने वाले डिस्प्यूट इवन बिफोर दे स्टार्टेड अकरिंग और दे स्टार्टेड टेकिंग शेप उसको पावर थी कि वो उनके पहले से फ्यूचर को फोर्स करके डिसीजन पास कर सके, right? And all the applications must be accompanied by the original arbitration agreement, which should be a duly certified copy, right? And this part, though we have discussed just now, that all the matters which are trying to encroach upon the powers of the civil court or the penal courts or the criminal courts, those matters are kept away from the issues that can be held or discussed or solved with the help of an arbitrator. So whenever any physical harm is done to anybody, these kind of cases are not possible to be solved with the help of arbitration process, no matter how much willing the parties are. But these matters should go to court of law, not to any arbitration proceedings. So the most general type of matters in which the arbitration is possible, one is breach of contracts. Whenever any contract is broken or breached, and this type of things can be referred to an arbitration process because the court of laws are already overburdened with the number of cases. And breach of contract is something which can occur at any point of time during the course of business. Any party might feel that the contractors appointed by him or hired by him are not providing the due service or desired service. So these kind of cases are actually expected to go to the arbitration processes. Validity of marriage is always something which has opened too many questions of doubt. I just need to understand with the help of you guys, should the validity of marriage go to the arbitration process or not? So textbooks are claiming it. That questions of validity of a marriage can be resolved with the help of arbitration process. Is it a possibility that we see the legal extent or essence in this particular point? That validity of marriage can be solved with the help of arbitration. And what is this valid marriage? These are the two things that I need to understand with the help of you guys. First part, what is this valid marriage, and whether it should be referred to the arbitration or not. Mental harassment and threatening. One Vitsinma has asked that what about mental harassment and threatening? See, threatening itself is criminal. Mental harassment itself is criminal. So any act which is criminal in nature cannot be referred to the court of arbitration or the process of arbitration. Whenever anybody, because mental harassment needs to be supported with certain number of clauses and documents and even the local laws. If an employee, like I tell you, I have given you one example earlier that there are two countries, one is Japan, second is India. In Japan, seniority is respected more. In India, youth is appreciated more. Because in India, we have too many number of youths, and the youths are able to perform physically better than any person who is older. So in India, youth is appreciated more with regards to any organization. And in Japan, it's a country where seniority is given too much high regard, right? So if any person who is working in India or in Japan, if feels that promotions are subjected to some other nuances which are not understood by him, then he can always claim the mental harassment. And in case of mental harassment, this kind of mental harassment, again, court of law should come into picture because this kind of process which needs legal assistance or legal support cannot be solved with the help of an arbitrator. Because if you appoint, even if you appoint an arbitrator, the arbitrator is gonna pass the decision with respect to the continual processes so as to not to harm the business proceedings, and that is something which is not accepted by the person who is claiming the mental harassment, right? So mental harassment and threatening can never go to the arbitration processes. But I was trying to ask the question to kids, how this what is this valid marriage, and how this validity of marriage can go to the court of arbitration or the arbitration processes. Please help me. नहीं बताओगे? चलो फिर तो ठीक है. आई कैन assume that कि तुम लोगों को समझ में आ गया. अच्छा, anyway, so matters of right to office, this is something which is related with the positions within the organization, and within the organization positions, they can always be resolved with the help of the court of arbitration or the arbitration processes. Time bar claims, this part happens only when there are certain contracts in which certain claims are required to be resolved with the help of within the constraint of certain time period. And if at any point of time any person feels that he or she has went beyond the scope of the time claims, then they can approach the arbitration processes. अच्छा बेटा, तुम लोग क्योंकि आज फिर से जवाब नहीं दे रहे हो, तो मुझे आई एम नॉट able to understand why, and I think I should start seeking the answers one by one, because now the points are coming into contradiction. This is where we actually said question of validity of marriage can be referred to the arbitration process, and in here we are talking about matters related to divorce should not be referred to arbitration processes. And now divorce and marriage are part of the processes, right? So how these are two views that are being taken by the court of law as two different processes. So this is my first question. If you could choose not to answer, then please be prepared to write an assignment. नहीं बताओगे? Okay, fine. मेरा इतना मुझे बता दो, तुम लोग जवाब देने वाले हो या नहीं? I seriously need the responses from the kids
Yes, sir.
so as to make this point clear. Why they are at one slide they are claiming that matters related to validity of a divorce or validity of marriage should go to court of arbitration, and matters related to divorce should not go to the arbitration processes. I need to understand this point with the help of you guys.
Sir, no idea.
Shinmay is actually given one answer that validity of marriage does not lead to divorce, and divorce is something which is totally different from the process of marriage and validity of marriage. This point seems valid. This point seems logical. Please tell me, what is this if, let's say, a marriage is considered as null and void? Why is it not a divorce? And what happens if a marriage is considered as null and void? And why a marriage is considered as null and void? Shiva, you can please tell me because your answer seems pretty much valid and logical. Validity of question of validity of marriage does not lead to divorce. Okay, fine. Forced marriage can be considered as null and void. The marriage one either which is forced or the marriage which is performed with the help of conceit or deceit. दो केसेस में बनी गई है. In both the cases, this kind of a marriage is considered as null and void, and the person whose marriage, the people whose marriage has been considered as null and void, whose marriage has been rendered as null and void, they are not eligible to receive the post-divorce benefit from either of the party. If the marriage is considered as null and void because of deceit, then you can always file the compensation, but that compensation would go to the court of law. It is not going to come under the process of arbitration. And all the parties involved in a divorce, they are eligible to receive post-divorce benefits from one or the other party, the party which is more financially strong. And now, since this particular thing involves the money matters, that's why the matters related to divorce, because it's a legal status awarded to a person, that yes, this person is divorced or not divorced. Since this it is a legal status, that's why it needs to go to the court of law, never to the arbitration process. Null and void is something in which the since marriage does not is not existent. That's why no post divorce or no post invalidation of marriage agreement are considered as eligible to be called as the person as divorcee, right? The person whose marriage has been ascribed as null and void, they attain the status of unmarried, never been married, right? But if it is a divorce, then you attain a legal status of divorcee, and because you attain a legal status of getting divorced, that's why you are eligible to receive the post divorce benefit from one of the partners. That's why any matter related to divorce should not go to arbitration process, and any matter related to the validity of marriage can always go to the process of arbitration. Testamentary matters like validity of a will again is something which involves the transfer of properties from one generation to another generation, from a person who has left the world, who has gone to the heavenly abode, and he has left something which is of physical and material value. And that value, material value, should be transferred to the people whom he willingly wanted to give to. It is not that the person whose will is under question. And we have seen the cases wherein people, because if an old person is gonna leave the world, then at old ages people are habitual of too many medicines. And there are multiple medicines which can actually cause partial mental instability. And that partial mental instability is, we know from our lectures in contract, validity of a contract, when the person was unable to enter a contract because of mental sickness or partial mental sickness. So any person who is leaving a will, if that will can be contested on behalf of the person's inability to enter or take a judicious decision with regards to his own property, that thing needs to be settled within the court of law. Because court of law is required to be there, no arbitrator should venture into this particular area. Insolvency is something which businesses have utilized or businessmen have utilized to evade multiple tax charges and to evade the liability which they owe to other party. Because whenever you are unable to repay a debt, then only you become insolvent. If even if you have the capacity to start earning again and you have the capacity to earn enough additional money in future, even in that cases the court of law can come into picture and ask the person to start working again and start earning again and start repaying the debt. Debt is something which is greatly protected in all the countries. People are not allowed to take debt if they are unable to repay. If you even if you apply to bank, the bank will try to look into your earning capacity, the bank will try to look into your current total savings or the total assets that you have created till now, and then the bank would give you or sanction you a loan amount. All those things are required to be considered. So whenever any person is claiming the insolvency status, that simply means he is trying to evade the responsibility, legal responsibility of repaying the debt. And that is something which is very, very great. And again, it involves the money matter. That's why the court of law should take precedence in these cases also. These processes cannot go to the arbitration processes. Matter relating to public charities and charitable trust. I again need to understand this point with the help of you guys. Why the matters related to public charities and charitable trust should not go to arbitration processes? Please tell me. Hello? Why matters related to public charities and charitable trust should not go to the arbitration processes? Since it involves money donated for charity, this point is partially true, which is used for the benefit of others. Now it becomes more clear because the money was donated for the benefit of a section of a society, and that money should spread across that section. There cannot be any partiality with regards to the charities and charitable trusts that they are gonna give benefits to one section and not the other section within the same group for which the charitable trust was created or charity was created. Right. So in order to distribute the money received by donation across the group for whose benefit the trust was created, and again money is involved, distribution of money is involved. That's why, or the distribution of physical benefits is involved, or distribution of certain skills are involved, which again are gonna cost some money. So this distribution, which should reach across a group, a particular specified group. So the trust is not allowed to take any partial stance, and that partial stance, if the trust is trying to take, then the matter should go to the court of law, not to the arbitration process. Moreover, in arbitration process, as it happens, the parties in dispute, they both sign. They both sign that yes, they approve the arbitrator. Yes, they have a belief in the ability of the arbitrator to do justice in the matter of dispute. But in case of public charities or charitable trusts, the money receiving party or the benefits receiving parties can be too many in numbers. Let's say if we are gonna create a trust for the benefit of, let's say, a missing tribe or Khanti tribe in our state, right? So all the people who belong to these missing or our Khanti tribes in Assam, it becomes totally impossible to identify each one of them and to get their sign to approve for the approval of the arbitrator. So the validity of the arbitration contract itself comes into question because all the parties involved are not signing the status of the arbitrator. So money is involved and all the parties are unable to sign the arbitration contract. That's why these matters should not go to the arbitration processes. ठीक है?
Yes,
चले
sir.
आगे.
Yes, sir.
Okay, why this matter of guardianship of a minor should not go to the arbitration? Please help me in understanding. Because at this point again is should be known to you if you kids are able to put things in logical sequence. We have just discussed the partial part of this point also in our earlier point. The matters related to public charities and charitable trusts should not go to the arbitration processes. We have discussed this point, and you guys have told me that you have understood the point. The same logic applies to this point number five, that matters related to guardianship of minor should not go to the arbitration processes. प्लीज रिमाइंड मी हम लोगों ने पिछले पॉइंट से क्या समझा जो इस पॉइंट के अंदर हम लोग अप्लाई कर सकें. कुछ नहीं सीखा ना पिछले पॉइंट से. यस, आज जिम्मा सबसे अच्छे जवाब दे रहा है. बाकी बच्चे बात ही नहीं कर रहे हैं. एक बच्ची और है जो सिर्फ यस सर और नो सर के काम चला रही है, लेकिन सिर्फ जवाब चिन्ह दे रहा है. एनीवे, क्या कर सकते हैं. ये ऑनलाइन क्लासेस ने बच्चों को बहुत ज्यादा फ्रीडम दे दी है to not to participate in the processes which are for their own benefit also. लेकिन वो फ्रीडम को बेटा गलत इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो तुम लोग. मैं पहले बता चुका हूँ, ये चुप रहने की जो प्रैक्टिस है ना, ये तुम लोग को बहुत ज्यादा नुकसान देगी. MBAs are basically about being able to present your thoughts with clarity. MBAs are about to conclude logically and rationally about the matters in present. MBAs are about to develop a thought process so as the future is executed as per the plan. And by not communicating, by not discussing, you kids are doing a serious damage to yourself. मैं पता नहीं, ये बात मैं कई बार बता चुका हूँ. हर बार बच्चे कहते हैं कि उनको ये बात समझ में आती है, लेकिन मानते नहीं है. ये बड़ी खराब बात है. Anyway, so like Chinmay has told us that minors are not able to enter any contract. An arbitration process itself is a contract wherein you legally take responsibility to appoint a person as arbitrator. And minors are not allowed to enter any contract, right? That's why the guardianship of minor cannot go to the arbitration process. It must always go to the court of law. Same is the condition with lunacy proceedings. If a person has gone lunatic, then what is going to happen to his business or own properties or any other thing, or how the care of that person should be taken, all those things, all those matters, since the lunatic itself is not able to enter the contract. That's why the matters with regards to the care of lunatic person or with regards to the care of his property should not, must not go to the arbitration process. They should always go to the court of law. Matters of criminal nature, we know if some harm has been made to some person, then arbitrators are not the right person to decide the gravity of the harm and to decide the penalty for the harm. ठीक है. हाँ, जो बच्चा अभी तक यस कर रहा था ना उसने भी बंद कर दिया यस करना, है ना. भाई किसी की भी तारीफ करो फट से बोलना बंद कर देता है. चलो फिर ठीक है, मैं आज की क्लास यहीं खत्म कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है. All of you are supposed to give me your attendance in WhatsApp group also so that I can mark it and enter it into ERP. I have 37 kids in my class right now, so I would expect 37 presence in the WhatsApp group. Take care, start speaking, and पता नहीं क्या करूँ मैं तुम लोगों से अब. Bye.